to. It's so hard to say it, but darling, let's face it. These feelings we're feeling cannot be ignored.
Back, guys. Damn. To another day in Paradox. It's your host, Mr. Nigus. I don't even know if I'm still gonna call you Mr. Nigus or not, but damn, my internet's breaking up. My bad. But no, Nigus and Mr. Unit here talking about another series of anime, I guess, but it's gonna be a different episode today. For disclaimer, we kind of took a 2-week break, didn't we? It was very unannounced. It was just random. I don't know how it happened. Would you like to explain, Nigus? No, we're playing around. But yeah, we took a little break. I guess we had things to focus on. But we're obviously coming back stronger, and I guess have fun with the new wave of content. As you can see, we're wearing matching can we call it uniforms?
Well, we can call it uniforms.
We were wearing matching uniforms for actually unrelated reasons. It was just for fun, but we can just say like for reference of Ethiopia and Adwa, whatever, right? It doesn't even really matter. It just looks nice. Just focus on that.
It just looks nice.
But yeah, so welcome to this week's episode. And today, or this week rather, we're actually talking about life adaptations of anime, which appears to be a very interesting topic among, I guess, the community or the sphere of anime, or in whatever in the discussion, right? And we personally, like, as I guess like anime fans, both of us are like we have watched anime, and I guess a few animes and then a few of their live adaptations, and we have our own impressions of them and thoughts, and I guess we're here to just kind of summarize, is it really worth making live adaptations? Are they really good? Are there any good versions? Or, I don't know, bad, whatever. But I guess we'll come towards that, right? Right.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, so today's not really going to be a very long episode. We're going to go over, I got a list of, I think, around 15, maybe 14. Let's just say top 10, like, live adaptations of animes. We're going to go over, like, if we've seen them, and if yes, then what we think about them. Does that sound good?
Sounds perfect.
Glad to have your approval. So let's start with the infamous and probably, I guess, like arguably one of the best anime series, right? You probably heard about Death Note, haven't you?
Would be ashamed of it if I had.
Yeah, exactly. Death Note is obviously like it's probably like it's one of like the animes that I genuinely went into, right? Like really understood, not understood, but rather tried to understand. It was one of the more interesting ones and more creative ones. What did you think about the anime? Let's start with that one.
I thought it was very, very well done.
Mm-hmm.
Gotta be honest. It's one of my favorite anime series, even though it's very mainstream. Everybody knows about Death Note.
Yep.
Even the people who aren't into anime, who don't watch, who usually don't watch this kind of stuff, know Death Note.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, very well executed.
Could you say like
Gotta be honest.
Could you say like we talked about Akira before, right? And we put Akira as like one of the pioneers of anime. Like it's like an anime that kind of in some ways revolutionized or pushed something forward. Like would you put Death Note to that rank of like legendary anime? Like
definitely would.
It's one of like you said it, like it's one of like the animes where you would say, yeah, that name really holds a lot of weight. You know what I mean? You can't just, I don't know, you can't just say the name in vain, I guess, because that's what I want to say. But I guess Netflix did, right? I guess Netflix did say the name in vain, as they produced one of arguably, in my opinion, the worst life adaptations of any anime. Have you seen the life adaptation of Death Note?
Unfortunately, I have.
No, unfortunately
Saying
you have. Okay.
Well, actually, I have to say, fortunately, I watched it before the original.
Oh,
anime.
okay. So that was your introduction.
So that was my introduction to Death Note, and well, the first time I watched the live adaptation, I was like, well, it's kind of, the story is okay. I wasn't, because I didn't watch the original. I wasn't this, let's say, disgusted about it, because
I guess you watched it first.
They kind of ruined the most important part about the whole anime, which is this kind of battle between L and Light, and it kind of didn't come across the way it came in the original. For example, Light isn't this kind of dorky nobody who gets beaten up at high school.
In the live adaptation, right?
In the live adaptation. I mean, in the original, he's this
loner
A-class student.
Yeah, he's very smart, but loner.
Genius, very smart.
Yep.
You know, people you would call elite.
Exactly.
And that kind of didn't come across.
In the live adaptation.
And yeah, definitely.
They did.
It didn't come across in the live.
They did a lot of disservice. I think one of the more, I mean, I think you hit bullseye, I guess, in one of the main issues of like the live adaptation that they did, right? I think the whole problem of the show that I had was like, starting first, like in the whole anime, what made everything interesting was like the cat and mouse chase between Light and L, right? That was literally what made the show what it is, right? The whole concept of like Death Note, the Shinigamis or the demons, whatever, right? It was important to the story, but what really made it interesting was like this detective and criminal whatever chase between them, right? And it was just highlighted to a level of like, okay, these are really two very genius people, young people that are just fighting in levels that we can never think about. And Netflix saw that and said, yes, that's good, but let's just make it really dumb. Let's just make it so generic. Because like, you saw them chase after each other literally on the street, like, which never happened in the anime. They were never running away. It literally felt like, I can't even explain it. They literally dumbed it down to a level where it was just a very generic, very plain, uninspired show, which you couldn't remember after like a day or two of like, like it never had any relevance. And yeah, it was very disappointing. Like I guess fortunately to me at the very least, I saw it after I saw the anime, so I could have like, I was able to criticize it pretty well. It didn't really ruin anything to me. I just said, what a wasted potential, I guess. But yeah, I guess I guess we still have the anime, so we don't really have anything to complain about. But I guess my question now is like, have you heard about the second live adaptation of Death Note?
No, I haven't. I haven't watched the Japanese one.
Exactly, you're right. And I only realized like today morning as well, like there was a Japanese one. But that one's an interesting one to check out. I feel like they probably got it better than I guess the Americans did. I would think.
You can't make it worse than making the main detective black.
Exactly.
And making the whole story end in a completely different way, which is nonsense. And making the main character a dorky guy, so people somehow can relate to him, which is kind of the standard Netflix scheme is using main characters people can relate to,
like an underdog,
that don't have a life, that are misunderstood, that are kind of oppressed, and making them this kind of superhero villain and whatever. It's kind of very generic, as you said.
Exactly. Before. And yeah, I'm pretty sure like the Japanese version got it way more correct. I mean, it's their property, right? I guess maybe Americans should genuinely just stop adapting anime in that case. But moving on to our next pick. I picked actually. Well, no, wait, no, wait. Let's come to that later. Have you seen Ghost in the Shell?
No, I haven't seen Ghost in the Shell, so I won't judge this one.
So you haven't seen the anime or
I haven't even seen the anime.
Okay, but you haven't seen the live adaptation
That's
of it
still
either.
something I'm looking forward to be honest.
Oh, really? Okay. Have you seen the live adaptation with
No, I haven't even seen the live adaptation of Ghost in the Shell.
What was the actress name? The one who's playing Black Widow, whatever, from Avengers. I forgot. But I guess I could speak more to that. To be honest, I haven't. I'm not even gonna lie. I haven't seen the anime. I've only seen clips of it. But Ghost in the Shell came out, I think, a few years ago. 6 years ago, and was really put on hot water because a lot of people basically said the same thing we said about Ghost in the my bad. Death Note right now, right? That it was just a very poor construction or retelling of the whole story of Ghost in the Shell. So it did a very poor service of it. The thing that I can do maybe in that case is like give an opinion from someone that didn't watch the anime. I actually did not dislike the movie. I actually thought it was very interesting. It had a very cyberpunk setting, which was obviously present in which is the main story of like Ghost in the Shell, even in the anime, right? And I very much tend to like these kind of settings. The story was pretty alright. It was kind of forgettable, obviously. The villain was a bit forgettable, but I guess the arc of the main story wasn't really as bad. But like you said, obviously, like I can't really give a full judgment of it because I haven't seen the anime. But I would actually still recommend you watch like the live adaptation. It's really not that bad. But do it in the process, I guess you seem fit. So
yeah, I'll probably start with the anime.
Exactly. I think it's a way better rhythm. So moving on to the next one. You've probably hopefully seen this one. Have you seen Alita Battle Angel? Tell the truth, have you?
I haven't.
You haven't seen Alita Battle Angel?
No.
Who was the director? Was it Spielberg? I don't think it was Spielberg. It was Cameron. It was James Cameron, right? The guy who made Avatar and Titanic, whatever. Damn, that's harsh.
I feel like I'm missing out on something.
No, you're missing out on a lot. But I guess in that case also like I'm gonna have to explain that. But I guess similar to Ghost in the Shell, I haven't seen the anime of Alita Battle Angel either. I think maybe in that aspect I'm missing out too. But I guess Alita Battle Angel on the other side is actually like a very good example of like how maybe a better life adaptation. But obviously like my judgment of that is going to be very biased because like all I have seen is like the life adaptation. But the movie really wasn't that bad, and not a lot of people actually complained about it. Like a lot of people that watched the anime as well. So I guess
like what's it about?
So Alita Battle Angel is kind of a dystopian story of like, it's very classism. Like you'll probably very much like it. It's a very classic story of like there are ultra wealthy, ultra superior people, and then there's very poor people, and their worlds are very apart. So like the really rich people, wealthy people have like a sky city, whatever. It's like it's high and above, and the really poor people live among scraps and dirt, whatever on the ground, right? And these poor people on the ground, they tend to like fight a lot. It's very, there isn't a lot of money, there isn't a lot of wealth to fight for, and there's like this one tournament of like racing, and the winner just gets to go to the higher city to live there, or I think visit there, right? And it's very robotic as well. It's very artificial intelligence based, so there's a lot of robots, and not once upon a time, but like a certain day, a very specific doctor in the, could we call it underworld, or just I guess main earth, like in the poor area, finds a deadbeat robot that is supposedly should have come from like the higher city or wherever, right, where there's a lot of better things, and he repairs her. She doesn't remember her memories, but she's a robot, and she regains her purpose, her history, whatever, while I guess surviving, while also discovering a lot of, I guess, issues and maybe secrets that the doctor had. And her main mission is to go back to the city above and find out why she was destroyed and find her enemies, whatever, right? And the movie just basically stops at that point where it's like, okay, but whatever. I can't really explain it that well, but it's a really interesting story of like, in some ways maybe also like it could have been seen like as a very good female model to like aspire to, but it's very hard to do that since she's a robot. But that's the story. It's actually a pretty cool one, so I very much recommend you watching it.
Yeah, I guess I'll watch it.
Definitely.
Like it sounds pretty interesting, gotta be honest.
No, it does, and it's also directed by the same person who did like really amazing movies such as Avatar, Titanic.
And it's an adaptation, you said?
And it's an adaptation. Yeah, it's an anime adaptation
of the anime with the same name.
I think it's the same name. Yeah, I mean, you can probably search like Alita Battle Angel anime adaptation, and you'll probably find it. But I guess like similar to Ghost in the Shell, it has like a very huge Hollywood budget behind it, so like the visuals are pretty good. The focus on it is pretty much better than, I guess, a Netflix.
Interesting.
As like compared to like a Netflix influence, maybe Netflix obviously spends a lot on its movies, but it probably couldn't do the same for like Death Note. But I very much recommend it. So moving on to, I guess the last two, right? The last two that I have list. Maybe you can recommend me better ones later. But I am 100% sure you've seen this one. Don't disappoint me. Have you seen the Avatar Last Airbender live adaptation? Tell me.
I'm not gonna disappoint you this time. I have seen it. And
what did you think?
I have watched the original Nickelodeon series.
We can call it anime, right? Like we can agree that it's anime. Or what?
Yeah, we could agree on it. Or, yeah, I would say it's kind of,
it's anime influenced. It's
borderline, but I would still say it's kind of an anime.
It is,
at least for the art style, for
the art style, the story as well.
I mean, I don't know if it's a Japanese.
It's not. It's definitely not. It's a Western Japanese animation, but it's very anime influenced, right? The style and whatever. Yeah. But yeah, so what did you think about the live adaptation compared to the anime version?
Compared to the anime
yes,
version?
Sir.
Well, the live compared to it, it's actually, I wouldn't say it was bad, but it's mediocre. It was mediocre.
You wouldn't say it's bad?
I didn't like it. No, I wouldn't say it's bad. I would say it's kind of a mediocre thing. Some things are acceptable, others weren't acceptable.
Well, okay, what did you like about it? Let's start there, I think. Like on a positive note. Like what?
No, I have to say the Airbender himself and what's the name of the giant thing he flies on?
Appa. I think it's
yeah. I kind of enjoyed that in the adaptation.
Okay.
Yeah, it was kind of interesting to see how. I mean, it was like the first adaptation I ever saw of an anime.
Something you knew in cartoons.
And it was something kind of new for me to see, like how usually you have like, it's way easier to do a lot of visual effects in the anime and how they would transfer it to the adaptation. And I thought it wasn't that bad, at least how the visuals were transferred. The story wasn't as obviously as complete as the one in the series, which is pretty obvious, I guess.
I heard like they wanted to do like a continuation of it, right? They didn't want to tell the whole story on one movie. So I think that kind of, I mean, I guess that was a good thing, because like even in the animation you had like, I think you had 3 books, as in 3 seasons, right? It ended in like 3 seasons, and I think
I think so.
And they wanted to do like 1 movie for every book, which was very hard for them. But I guess for summary of the whole thing, right? It was directed by, and I don't know if you know this director, but he's called M. Night Shyamalan. Have you heard of M. Night Shyamalan?
Am I what?
M. Night
No, I haven't.
Shyamalan. You've never heard of it?
M. Night Chambre.
Yeah, Shyamalan.
Like shaman.
Like, no, Shyamalan.
Shy.
AM.
Okay, well, I'm not gonna spell that. I'm just gonna.
This
is just gonna be really.
You shouldn't. But this, I guess, the director is actually he's actually a very famous director, and you know him by, I guess he's very known for his like very sudden and unpredictable twists and stories that he had. He directed movies as like Unbreakable. Have you heard of that?
Just heard of it.
Unbreakable. He did Split. He did The Sixth Senses. He did Glass. He did even Sign. I like Sign. That was a very good movie.
Sign.
Yeah.
Sign was interesting. Yeah.
He did movies such as like After Earth, The Village, and a few others. So he's a very actually.
I didn't like After Earth.
I didn't either. But he's a very like he hits and he misses, right? If he hits, like he hits really well, and if he misses big time, right? And I think that was a very misjudgment of like putting him into like a series that is very kid centric, but I guess they got what they got what they paid for. But yeah, the animation I guess the animation was like the anime was like, it was part of our childhood in some ways, right? It was a very popular anime among kids, even our age, for our generation, I guess. And it was very amusing. It was very heart. It had a lot of heart. Story was just amazing. It was about a bunch of kids rising to, I guess, the system. I don't know how you'll analyze it, but it just was what it was, right? And this guy just kind of scooped in 2010 and basically did a dirty, man. It was just a terrible movie. I remember I saw it in like I saw it in Germany. It was like 2010, I think, or 2009. I don't remember which year. 2010 in Germany came out in cinemas. I saw it, and I really wasn't a huge fan of it because it just felt so empty. It didn't have the same magic as the animation.
Yeah, I mean, definitely it didn't have that. It was not that well executed.
It really wasn't.
And of course the story had to be shortened, and a lot of things were left out. And obviously it didn't end. I'm not saying it ended because they wanted to make more of them, as you said.
Yep.
But even in that small part of the story, which actually wasn't that small, it kind of didn't hit. You know, it's kind of.
They basically.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it was very, very bad, but.
It wasn't. It was forgettable. I guess we can say it was.
It was kind of, it was something you just. I said it was mediocre because it was something that you kind of seen and you forget about it because it wasn't very relevant. It didn't have any very, very bad moments. Otherwise people would kind of recognize those bad moments.
Exactly. But yeah, exactly. So like you would. I mean. Exactly. If you had bad moments, at least you would remember for those bad moments. But you just don't. You just remember it for just not impressing you at all. Not even negatively. It was just plain.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, yeah, the movie really wasn't. I wouldn't recommend it. I don't think it's a very good representation of what the animation really was. There was a lot of controversies which I would like to have your opinion on. For instance, like. There was a whole controversy of like he didn't pick a diverse cast for the live adaptation because in the anime, right, it's very obvious that those characters are very Asian based, right? I heard like somewhere in the analysis that the Fire Nation was representing Japanese, I guess the Air Nation, Airbenders, whatever, they were like monks from, I guess, the from Mongols or whatever, somewhere in China, right? And I guess the waterbenders were like not maybe Taiwanese, something like that, right? But it was very obvious that they were very Asian based, and he picked like white actors for all of those. I don't know if you realized that, but what do you think about that?
Yeah, there were white actors.
Like all of them, right?
I mean,
as far as I remember.
As far as I guess all of them.
What do you think about that?
I kind of don't even remember if everyone. I mean, wasn't someone supposed to be at least of color in some kind of way?
I think maybe what's the female?
Yeah, I
forgot
her name.
I forgot her name. I remember Zuko. I remember how
it wasn't Sakura. It wasn't Sakura, right? No, it wasn't.
Something with H. Does that ring a bell? Something with H? I don't know.
No, it doesn't ring a bell at all.
Okay, wait. So Katara, exactly. Her name was Katara. And no, she was actually a white character. She was a white character.
It's an Asian name though, so I guess it would have made sense if they used Asian actors as well.
Yeah, but he didn't, right? But
they didn't, and that's why they got criticized. I would maybe agree with that.
Why? Was it like the whole issue of like
because they could have used Asian. They either could have used all Asian characters, or they could at least they should have used all Asian characters. Got to be honest.
But I mean, you're right in that hindsight. Yeah.
Yeah, it would have been. No, I'm not gonna say anything about it.
But okay, the question I guess is like, would it really have changed the story? Was it really the main issue of everything? Like, I guess the casting and the ethnicities of it. Because I think the issue, I think
the story was
exactly.
Shit.
I think main issues of like everything was really in the story of it, right?
Rushed.
Yeah,
main issues were the story
and it didn't really do it a lot. I guess a lot of service. And I mean, like the whole diversity thing is obviously correct, right? And it should be paid attention upon, like you said earlier too, like with Death Note, right? You said, well, they cast this black character as L, right? But I don't know. I mean, like, it would have been pretty. I mean, it would have been cool, I guess, if they picked Asian characters. But like, as a young kid back then, it wasn't really. I didn't really realize it. It wasn't like some like, damn, they didn't cast Asian people, yada yada yada. So I don't know. I don't know what to say about that. But it's obviously still not the. Back to it. Okay. The last Avatar isn't. The live adaptation isn't something I would recommend, right? But I don't know about you.
Yeah, I would join your opinion.
There you go. We have an agreement. So to the last, but definitely not least, live adaptation. You're gonna be. I don't know if you're gonna be happy about this. Okay. So like the last one for me. I don't know if you're gonna come up with a few recommendations, but for me it was the infamous. Oh damn! I actually forgot about this. It was actually the infamous Dragon Ball Evolution live adaptation. Have you seen that?
Oh my god.
That was actually one of the first live adaptations I've seen. I didn't even know there was an anime towards it.
It was my second live adaptation.
That was the second one that you've seen?
And I watched it before I watched Dragon Ball at all.
So
I wouldn't say it got me into it because I thought Dragon Ball was shit after I watched the adaptation.
Okay.
Like I literally thought it was shit.
You did? Okay,
yeah.
Okay. What did you dislike about it, right? What did you dislike about it? Or I guess liked about it. I don't know. What did you think overall?
I would say you can't adapt Dragon Ball. It doesn't make sense.
Have you seen the anime? Like how much have you seen of the anime? I guess let's start with that.
I used to watch it when it ran on television.
Yeah, cause like
just like I haven't watched all of it. I just like sparks now and then every week a few episodes.
Okay.
I wouldn't say I wouldn't say I watched this and that season. I don't remember the seasons. But Yeah, I mean, it's Dragon Ball's legendary. Let's just say that. Without getting into details and story and plot, it's just legendary.
I guess. I mean, I'm personally gonna tell you, I'm not.
I mean, because it was kind of a precursor, you know.
Yeah, it was one of the bigger ones, right? Like along with Dragon Ball, along with like One Piece, I guess maybe Bleach.
Yeah, Dragon Ball was before One Piece.
Yeah, it was way before.
You know, it was kind of because it was one of the first ones. You know, like people that grew up in the 90s and stuff. They would say, "Oh my gosh, Dragon Ball is untouchable," and I grew up with that. Like we kind of grew up on One Piece, and
but like it's considered one of the big ones, right? One of the big animes, I guess. It's very high tiering.
Yes, it's not one of the big three, but it's kind of one of the big ones. And it has like a lot of I mean, there's the original Dragon Ball series. There's Dragon Ball whatever, and Dragon Ball Z, which is kind of the newer one. I wouldn't want to be so I wouldn't want to say anything more about that because I don't know.
But yeah, personally, like for me, I haven't watched Dragon Ball. I'm not really the biggest fan of it. I think I don't know, maybe I just didn't catch up to it.
Neither.
I didn't catch up towards it, right? And I'm definitely not gonna start anytime soon. But I still obviously like see how much a lot of people like pay respect, whatever, and it's got its own class of like anime, right? It's very top tiering. But before I even knew there was an anime, I watched Dragon Ball Evolution, the live adaptation, and unlike a lot of people, I actually liked it. I genuinely did not dislike it. Maybe it's because like I watched it as a very young kid, but it was actually fun. I found it funny. I don't know. It was pretty cool. But looking back towards it, I definitely see like where the issues are. It's a very oversimplified like perspective on what Dragon Ball really was, and the aspect of like what you said, you can't bring Dragon Ball to life adaptation because it's just so wild with like just planets exploding left and right.
Yeah, you just have to have it's just very difficult to translate or transcript those effects. and that kind of atmosphere of, you know, the Super Saiyan things, and it's kind of very, very difficult.
Exactly. And they attempted to do that.
I don't see a well done adaptation anywhere near, even in the future.
Yeah, it's not gonna be successful. I mean, Dragon Ball in itself is already successful enough. They really don't need a live adaptation. But overall seal of approval, I would actually say if you watch it, you might have a good time. It's kind of funny. Maybe you'll laugh at it ironically or not ironically. It doesn't matter. I actually do recommend this.
It is funny if that's what you're looking for.
In one way or another, it's funny. You'll just watch it. It's actually pretty cool. But I guess if we can come to like, I guess that was the last one, right? But like, I guess if we can come to something that I wholeheartedly will actually support and will actually tell you to watch, and it's actually a live adaptation of a series, it's Speed Racer.
Which one?
Speed Racer. Have you seen it?
Speed Racer?
Have you seen it?
No, I haven't.
You've never maybe you don't know by name or whatever, but you may or may not have seen it. Speed Racer was actually one of like the movies I would say like that's actually a really good movie. It's a great movie. Visually it's amazing. Story-wise it's amazing. The storytelling is amazing. It's phenomenal. It's actually phenomenal. I haven't seen the anime once again too, but it's one of those where you say, I don't think they actually did a disservice to that anime. I've never seen the anime, but it's a really good movie. But I would even recommend you watch it.
I guess I'll check it out.
Speed Racer. Came out 2008. It's based on an anime from the 60s. No, back from the 60s also. No, my bad. I got the information wrong. There was no anime in the 60s. What am I talking about? But no, check it out. But as far as it comes, actually, like that was the list of anime live adaptations that I have today.
Okay, I can list two more.
Okay.
I've watched.
Okay, give me a few.
The first one's Lupin the Third.
Lupin the Third.
I don't know if you've heard
I've heard about the anime
like
Lupin.
It's like anime, yeah, exactly.
But it's not really anime.
I'm not talking about the Netflix version of Lupin,
Okay.
which came out recently, which has nothing to do with Lupin at all.
Okay.
So
because that's the one I saw the trailer on.
Even though I have to say the Netflix one is interesting.
Okay.
So I was kind of surprised actually. So if you want to watch it, and if you want to watch something decent on Netflix for a change.
Oh, I see. Like there's a very old version of Lupin too. Like looks very 90s.
Yeah, I'm talking about the very old. Yeah, it's a 90s anime.
Okay.
More like even earlier, I guess it kind of aired.
So they did a live adaptation of that.
They did, yeah, a Japanese one.
Okay. And you watched it?
And I think not just one, even more than one.
Okay.
I've watched one of them. Well, it's obviously not the same as watching
the anime
itself, but I wouldn't say I disliked it. It kind of had its own story. Yeah, like back in the 90s, like anime had like more this conclusive in one episode conclusive scheme, of showing things.
Yeah.
And that's why every kind of episode and 2-3 episodes had a different kind of story and a different objective, and started kind of, like you could follow up without, nowadays you have to like watch it from the beginning to understand something, to understand the whole series. Back then it was like mostly like even Cowboy Bebop and all those series.
You can hop in the middle.
Hop in and you would understand, and you would get into it. So it kind of even the adaptations kind of tell their own kind of version, which is kind of interesting to see. And I would definitely say, if you're a fan of it, why not just try
100%.
To watch one of those adaptations.
Yeah.
And another adaptation I've watched is Tokyo Ghoul.
I've definitely heard of the anime Tokyo Ghoul. I haven't seen anything of it.
Shame you haven't watched it. Shame on
I heard.
you, because,
Okay,
it's very good.
Speaking of Tokyo Ghoul, I heard only the first season was actually pretty good, and they kind of drifted off in like second season away from the manga.
Yeah, if you compare it with the manga.
They drifted off the manga, and it became terrible.
If you haven't read the manga, it's still a top-notch anime.
Okay.
So if you're not a manga reader like me, you would enjoy it.
I only heard it.
They say, the manga's way better. It displays a lot of detail. Blah blah blah.
I heard it in like connections to
Just kidding.
Don't trigger people. No, it's like I heard it in connections with like The Promised Neverland. I'm watching season 2 right now. Are you watching season 2? Probably not, right? You're waiting until it's completed.
No,
so I'm not gonna give any opinions, whatever. But all I can say is like people have been comparing it to Tokyo Ghoul and the shift from season 1 to season 2, and so yeah, that's how I knew like Tokyo Ghoul had also like this away from manga shift. So yeah, I don't know, how is it?
It obviously the story was rushed.
Yeah,
I didn't like it. I didn't that much dislike it. It was kind of interesting to see this, him as a Kaneki as a character, kind of in a live adaptation, how they would display him, this misunderstood thing, which they kind of did in some way. It was not that bad. But obviously the effects weren't as good as in the anime, which is a totally different story. It's pretty difficult to kind of
to capture
the whole thing with the Kagune and stuff. It's not that easy.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't say I'd recommend it, but if you're a fan of Tokyo Ghoul, just try and check it out and see maybe how the Japanese actors kind of displayed the whole thing.
Now I'm definitely gonna check it out. Like Tokyo Ghoul is definitely like on my list of animes to watch. But
yeah, I watch the anime first.
Okay, I'll watch the anime first. But there's only like one live adaptation, you're telling me, right? There are multiple ones.
Yeah.
Are they Japanese?
As far as I know, only one.
Are they Japanese also?
Yeah, it's Japanese.
Okay.
It's Japanese.
As in like language wise, or like made in Japan?
Made in Japan.
Okay, that's good. That's good news. But I'll definitely check that out.
Now, one more topic.
One more?
Before we end our little discussion today, our little session, is there's rumors, not just rumors. I mean, confirmed things about a One Piece Netflix live adaptation. You heard about that?
I have not heard about that. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what to feel about that.
I mean, it's supposed to have the biggest budget of a series ever made, I guess.
On Netflix. Or just overall.
On Netflix.
It could also be overall.
Overall. Yeah. I think it's
yeah,
overall.
Yeah, Netflix is
but
a big
I'm not
company.
sure. I'm not gonna. They're kind of wanting to spend a lot of money on that.
I don't think that's very possible. You know, I don't know. Okay, so like compare, like the closest thing we can compare it to is obviously Dragon Ball, right? Because Dragon Ball as well as like One Piece have like their own kind of world or setting, which is very unique and very different. But
I mean, how are you supposed to do like Skypia and those kind of, environments that are in One Piece?
Not only the environment.
I mean, it's kind of impossible to make them in any way credible.
Exactly, but like not only the environments. I think also like the fighting scenes, right? I mean, they can probably represent
even the fighting.
They can do Zoro pretty well. Maybe Sanji pretty well.
Maybe they could even do Sanji, and maybe they could even do Luffy to some extent.
I don't know about Luffy. I would have said Luffy is probably the harder one because like how.
Yeah, of course it's the harder one, but I guess they're kind of gonna figure out a way to do that. I just see a lot of problems with the environment. The ship, which is the
going Sunny. Or yeah. No wait, no. What am I going? Maybe exactly.
The first one we're talking.
But I think
we're talking about the first.
Okay, here's my prediction. Right, here's my official prediction. I think if they genuinely start this story anew, right, I think they're probably gonna nail it, because I guess the beginning of One Piece wasn't really that complicated. It wasn't really that weird. You know what I mean? It was very pirate based, just very ordinary things, right? You obviously had like Luffy having his old gum. Powers, whatever, fighting against people that are armored, were shooting at him. I guess they can get, my opinion is like they can probably get the setting pretty well, maybe the visuals pretty well if they have a high budget.
I just don't see how you can display like some of those grotesque people, like in that sense that they're, the kind of way that some people are displayed, the intensity.
Oh yeah, okay, so the character, so the characters.
Yeah, of a character, like even in the beginning.
Like who?
I mean, okay, Buggy the Clown and whatever, but
he was pretty standard.
If you just go to Arlong Park, and you have Arlong and those fishermen that are kind of they're gigantic.
Yeah. Yeah.
At least compared to like muscular wise.
They're probably gonna downsize them. They're just gonna be buff people, And
them flying through the air, even just the flying through the air, it's very hard.
Or the fight underwater. Remember, like I won't forget that fight scene where like Sanji,
the fight with Sanji.
Sanji underwater.
It's kind of. I would say it's impossible.
It's actually it's gonna be really hard.
Incredible.
No, it's gonna be really hard, and that's the point. I think the fighting scenes is something that they're gonna probably not nail. But you also said it. I think they're probably gonna fail at the characteristics of the villains or their intensities, I guess. Maybe even visually, right? I can't see them like presenting those fishermen really in their original size.
I mean, you've seen the Sabaody arc.
Which one was that?
No, I mean the with the agents, with this guy called
with the cheetah guy,
Rob Lucci.
Yeah, with the guys.
Yeah, the cheetah guy.
Yeah,
the cheetah guy.
They're not gonna nail that one.
Fucking supposed to display that in any credible way.
And plus, that was actually no wait. That was actually genuinely, I think, my favorite arc of One Piece. I mean, I haven't watched.
Yeah, it was interesting. Gotta be honest, that was very.
It was
nice
also
arc.
like where Frankie was introduced, right, with like Thomasan and the whole train thing, and
yeah,
that was actually a very deep, like season, I guess, arc. I guess that was a very deep arc that had many things happening in it. They can't do it justice.
I think the Sabaody, the part after that one, I guess the Sabaody, I think, the one where where Luffy, I mean, obviously the battle of the best, the war of the
Which one was it? Was it like where Ace died?
You know, Whitebeard.
Yeah, where Ace died.
Why are you spoiling people?
What do you mean? It's a
You're spoiling for people.
Spoiler alert. I guess it's a bit late to say spoiler alert. I don't think anyone who hasn't
the War of the Best. I think the name was the War of the Best.
Okay.
After that, when they returned to Sabaody, I guess that's how it's called, the islands. And there's like all these new pirates wanting to enter the new world.
Like, here's the thing though, right? I think they're not gonna reach that for like 3 or 4 more reasons.
No, they're not.
Seasons.
No.
I think the first season
Correct.
is really gonna take place outside of the Grand Line, if you know what I mean. I think that's really where the basics are very exactly. I think that's where the basics are gonna be like shown, where you know what I mean, like left to right, everything is like the setting was being proper, right? I'm very much excited for actually the arc of, I guess, where like the gods whatever are presented with like this. I don't know what his name was, like this electrical god whatever. What's his name?
You mean Skypiea.
Skypiea. That's gonna be a very interesting arc.
And his name, Eneru was his name.
Eneru, are you sure?
Eneru.
I don't know. I don't remember. But I'm very much excited for that. But I'm gonna tell you, they're gonna cut stuff out, right? Because that's what they're supposed to do.
Yeah.
Because it's live adaptation. They don't have that much time.
Quite frankly, I don't. You know, there hasn't even been released the official cast. So we're not gonna know how the actors look like, which is even difficult because are you gonna use Asian actors? Are you gonna use? It's kind of difficult because it's not an Asian world. It's kind of like
it's a very
fantasy.
I think somewhere I read like, and
it's not even Northern mythology fantasy because if it was Northern mythology fantasy, it would just be like, oh, we're gonna use I don't know, Caucasians.
Who would you use as Caucasian? Who would you cast as Caucasians?
Sanji.
What? Okay.
Sanji.
Like, okay, which one? Like, what is he?
Robin Nami.
Okay, so I read somewhere.
Frank.
I read somewhere that the creator of One Piece or the writer or whatever, he's actually written down the ethnicities of those characters, right? And bear with me. I don't. Maybe you might be surprised. I got him pulled out in front of me, right? He said Luffy. What? Okay, let's play this game, right? What would you categorize
Asian?
Luffy as Asian. Interesting. Yeah. He actually said Luffy is Brazilian. Would you have come to that?
No, I wouldn't. But I can see that.
You can see that, right?
Yeah,
in some ways, you can see that. Okay, what about Zoro? What would you put Zoro as?
Name-wise, I would say Southern Europe.
He put Zoro as Japanese. Okay. Okay, next one.
Well, he kind of uses swords.
Exactly.
As well. Maybe it's something we can accept.
Exactly. Okay.
I don't know how they're going
to do the Next up, our favorite character. Next up, Nami. What would you put Nami as?
She's probably Asian, isn't she?
Just say like what country, or just say what country.
If it was me, Iceland.
You'd say Iceland. Oh, that's actually pretty close. I'm not even gonna lie. It's Sweden. He put it as Sweden. I guess it's closer. What would you put Usopp?
North Africa.
Close. He just said African. So, but from his, I guess like light skin, whatever. He's probably North African, right?
I'd seen Ethiopian.
Maybe I don't know. Probably, maybe not.
Would be cool.
That would be dope.
Fit.
That would actually be dope. Like his hairstyle and everything. That would actually be dope. I'm not even gonna lie. Okay, so next up is Sanji. What would you put Sanji in?
French.
Perfect. That was actually bullseye. Yeah, he's French. But because it's cooking, right? Because he's cooking. That's the stereotype you picked.
I would have said Italian for the eyebrows, but not the mustache.
Now his whole lust for girls and I guess his cooking makes him really French. But
Yeah.
Choppa or a chopper.
He's a reindeer. Let's just skip over.
But he put an ethnicity next to it. What would you? I mean, he looks weird, obviously, but like,
I don't know.
He said,
just
what would you say? What would you say?
African.
He said Canadian actually, so maybe Canadian African.
Maybe like from the way he speaks, and you know, he kind of grew up in this snowy world.
Exactly. Yeah. And he's also a reindeer, right? Canadian. He's a reindeer. Reindeers exist in
he's a reindeer,
in the snowy place and whatever.
I don't know why I said African. I'm just
maybe because he's brown. I'm playing, but okay. Here, Robin. Where would you put Robin as?
Italian.
Are you sure?
Yeah, or Greek.
Greek or Italian. It's close. Greek was closer, but she's actually Russian. So it kind of fits, right? It kind of fits. She's good. Tall, like, you know, smart, whatever, right? It kind of fits, right? It kind of makes sense.
Kind of does make sense.
Next one you're probably going to be happy about. Where does Frankie come in your opinion?
Why am I supposed to be happy?
I don't know. I just kind of said it.
I'd say Frankie's American.
Exactly, because it was obvious. That's what I said. He's American. So, Brooke, where would you put Brooke in?
Brooke. He's English.
Close. He's Australian.
Australian.
That was actually pretty close though. So so the creator kind of nationalized them as this, which is kind of fits, right? It kind of fits, I guess.
Yeah,
it kind of fits. So
I mean, if they stick to if they use like the cast and they stick to that kind of categorization, I guess why not?
It would be interesting to see also, right? I don't know if they're gonna pick a Canadian for Chop Up. Because that's literally impossible. How are they even gonna present Choppa?
Yeah, well, it's gonna be a reindeer. I don't think they're gonna present Choppa, at least not.
At least not in the first season.
You know, I don't know if they're gonna do the same story like from the beginning. It's kind of not sure. They still haven't like released anything like a trailer or something. So, we're just gonna have to wait maybe in 2022.
As far as that, would you say they would follow the guidelines of the anime like perfectly, or would they kind of bring something new into it, like have a new spin into it?
I have no idea.
We really can't say anything because like we genuinely don't know anything.
I just hope they're not gonna ruin it because
that'd be terrible. Obviously,
that would make me very pissed.
Is that gonna make you cancel your Netflix subscription?
Yeah, definitely.
I don't know. I don't know. I guess I heard the news from you right now.
Still waiting to cancel my Amazon Prime subscription.
For the, I guess, flashback here for the Lord of the Rings series. Let's see. That's also gonna come in like 1 or 2 years, right? So
yeah.
Any other recommendations of anime? Or that would be it.
No, I'm actually done.
Or let's just save the rest, I guess, for a part 2, maybe. I don't know. That would be interesting.
Yeah, maybe one day if requested.
If requested one day, or we'll just do it anyway. We don't have any other topics. But
no, we're not gonna do it next week.
Definitely not next week. We need some anticipation, whatever. So that would actually be all. So can I summarize and conclude everything? What would you say?
Sure.
Yep. So thank you for actually accompanying us in another actually very fun episode. I kind of talked about things I didn't even plan about, so that was very interesting. From life adaptation to ethnicities from anime. But thanks for joining us, and catch us on next week's episode, which hopefully is probably gonna have another member with us. I don't know. I think
we kind of say that every week.
We kind of do. But I mean, I guess like a broken clock is correct twice a day. So I guess at a certain point we're gonna be correct. So I don't know. If it actually happens, it's probably gonna be a funny episode. So yeah, be anticipated for that. But so yeah, that brings it all together. See you next week, and bye.
Thanks for watching. Bye bye.
yours truly.